Hi, 7th grade. Here are the answers to your second round of 2-column note questions. The first one is, what is nullification? Nullification means to nullify or cancel a federal law that the state believes is unconstitutional. Now, remember, John Calhoun was a huge supporter of states' rights, so his argument was he believed that states could reject federal laws that they believed were unconstitutional. Now, that caused a lot of controversy between Jackson and Calhoun, of course. Another person who pops up in this section is Daniel Webster, and he is a senator of Massachusetts, and he believed that if states had the right to nullify federal laws, that the nation would fall apart. Now remember, we do believe that the federal government has certain rights and that states have certain rights, and Daniel Webster was trying to voice that opinion. Now, President Jackson believed that nullification, his opinion was the same as Webster, so he was definitely against nullification by the states, which brought him and Calhoun into a huge argument. And Calhoun's reaction was he actually resigned from being vice president and decided just to be a senator from South Carolina instead. So this caused a huge split between Calhoun and Jackson. Now, Calhoun being in South Carolina, he decided to pass the Nullification Act, which basically was his response to the Tariff of Abominations. And this act declared that the tariff was illegal. Jackson's response to this, obviously, he's extremely angry with Calhoun, not only for him leaving the vice presidency, but also going against his direct order. And he believed that the nullification crisis could possibly lead to civil war. And this is when Henry Clay becomes involved again. Now remember, he was involved in the election of 1824. He's also known as the Great Compromiser, and he came up with a compromise that essentially lowered the tariffs even more, and Jackson ended up supporting this. So in order to combat South Carolina, Jackson asked Congress to pass the Force Bill, and this bill stated that Jackson could use the army if necessary if South Carolina decided to go against Jackson's orders. And then lastly, other states decided that South Carolina was being a little bit crazy about this, and they did not support South Carolina's decision. So essentially what happens is South Carolina repeals the Nullification Act. However, this does lead to increased tensions between the North and the South that'll eventually end up leading once we get into the 1860s, which will be the start of the Civil War. If you have any questions, just let me know.